19th.
I dropped
Ted moved him.
I didn't.
You sure?
Scott's birthday.
I didn't.
We're gonna have Chinese again?
Nope. Nice chair.
No?
We're having steak and chicken. Something different from the Lucky Dog.
I'll get it.
Rice.
Lucky dog.
Some sort of a.
So it's the 18th at 1. Did we get that?
This is what.
What time?
18th at 1
And what time? At 1 p.m.?
is selectmen's meeting.
Console my dog.
Budget meeting?
Well,
The
budget
18th?
selectmen's meeting.
This is up
That's
tomorrow.
at 1. And then the 19th at noon time.
Fever and Saturday.
Bill, you got that?
Lasts until Sunday morning.
Hey, you tell me once.
That's the fiesta.
Everything.
Siesta. That's right.
Well, you know what a fiesta is.
Oh, yeah, it's like schoolwork. She got it all done. Changed her work schedule.
And on the 20th,
lot of
how long
trauma.
this potluck
Lot of
holiday
trauma
thing is going to be.
Life is life, right?
The 20th, what time is that?
Yeah, it's because you're
12:30.
What's that?
Going?
Is he going? I don't think so.
all right,
Are you
you
going to
know.
the whole
I know.
village potluck holiday lunch?
Didn't know anything about it.
I can't do
Guess
all
who's
that
not?
stuff.
Why
It's
not?
12:30.
Things to do.
When?
12:30 on the 20th.
Okay, and the 20th.
Yeah, I didn't have the
Well,
update.
Be
30.
my guest if you'd like, if you didn't get an invitation.
Oh, see that?
Whole
Check
village.
my.
See if he's
That's
got a better
Wednesday, right?
offer is what he's
It
checking.
is Wednesday, yep.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
We have to write a report of the meeting.
Is that right down at the
It's going to be upstairs,
upstairs?
the whole village, so it's that.
Okay.
Get yelled at by anybody
that.
anymore.
Hey, you didn't sign it.
Is all the information filled out?
All that, and then you missed the signature.
So I need all this.
Wasn't me who filled it out.
Oh, you get forced right into that, yeah?
Pretty much.
She said to me, I've been telling her.
Welcome to my world.
Oh my God. Oops. Not my God.
Call us to order. Bill.
All right. I'll make a motion to accept the November 13th non-public meeting minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Follow that up with a motion to approve the November 27th regular meeting minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
And last but not least, I'll make a motion to approve the November 27th non-public sealed minutes.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. The Select Board will meet on the following dates. Monday, December 18th for a budget work session beginning at 1 p.m. Monday, January 8th for a budget work session, beginning at 1:30 p.m. And then that same day, Monday, January 8th for a regular meeting beginning at 5. During that regular meeting, we will have a public hearing at 5:15. Then on January 22nd, we'll have a regular meeting beginning at 5 p.m. Also, on January 22nd, we'll have our first public budget hearing, which will begin at 5:15 p.m. Assuming we need a second one, we'll have a second budget hearing on Thursday, February 8th at 5 p.m. Town offices will be closed on Monday, December 25th in observance of the Christmas holiday and Monday, January 1st, 2024 in observance of New Year's Day. Any citizens wishing to be listed on the Select Board's agenda should notify the Town Hall before noon the Thursday before the scheduled meeting. All meetings will be held here upstairs in Town Hall and will be held by Zoom. Zoom information can be found on the town's website at plymouthnh.gov. And for anybody who missed the announcement, our website changed. We're at plymouthnh.gov now, so find us there. I don't have any comments. Let's jump in the town manager's report.
Sure, thank you, Zach. Reporting this week, the town hall HVAC system. We received 2 proposals. As you remember, we went out to RFP about 60 days ago. We received 2 proposals, one coming in from Denron Hall Plumbing and HVAC, and Blown Service HVAC. We're in the process of reviewing the proposals, making sure they do meet what was included in the request for proposal. The estimated ranges are from $361,000 to $365,000 between the 2 that have responded. But like I said, I'm going through the proposals to make sure they meet the requirements that were issued.
Have we worked with them before? They don't recognize that name.
Denron Hall is who takes care of the system here at Town Hall currently.
That strikes me as higher than we were hoping.
Much higher,
Substantially.
Zach.
I just
Much
double checked the
higher.
CIP. We had said, I don't know, maybe $100,000.
Much higher.
Yeah.
So I need to
Okay.
go through that and then speak to each of them with regards to what's included in their proposals.
What kind of system are we talking about?
Oil,
It's a oil, forced hot air to,
was hot air.
Go into the existing
oil,
duct
air
system.
conditioning, full replacement of the air conditioning system as well. And getting rid of the mini splits that are located in so many different locations in the town hall.
gotcha.
Tax deed auction update, we talked about that last meeting. The auction was held on November 18th at 3 p.m. The property was sold to a high bidder of $180,000. The bidder has 30 days to provide the funding. That 30 days is coming to a close on December 18th, and Ann has a further update that she'll report to you tonight as well.
Did they put a down payment on that, or just
Yes, a down payment was received.
for 10,000?
$18,000, wasn't it?
10%.
10%.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Welfare Department update, Mary Ann received 50 calls or visits in the month of November for assistance with payments, lodging, transportation, and other miscellaneous items. In many cases, there are 5 or 6 calls in order to find resolution and resources for the applicant, and all applicants' needs were addressed. Silver Hall parking lots, Town of Plymouth is able to use the Silver Hall lots starting this Saturday, December 16th through December 31st for downtown parking and holiday shopping.
Is there signage that goes up to indicate that?
Signage will be going up on Friday afternoon.
Great.
I attended the Health Trust annual meeting on Thursday, December 7th, to learn more about the medical and dental rates and some additional plans that will create additional saving for the town and employees. Some of those plans are what they call an Access Blue Site of Service plan, as well as a new Medicare Advantage plan that is going to be offered specifically by Health Trust for, excuse me, our retiree population. So Ann and I will be meeting with our Health Trust benefit representative after the first of the year to look at these 2 plans and add an additional cost savings plan to our suite of programs. On Saturday, I had the pleasure to attend the Plymouth Regional High School robotics tournament. I was invited to judge the robotics tournament, as well as Ted was a judge, and Zach wears many hats at the robotics tournament and doing many different things. It was amazing to see that there was 44 teams that were at this robotics tournament. And I think back of when I was 16, 17 years old, I wasn't working on robotics. And the creativity, the innovation, and the passion that these students show towards what they do. And there was teams represented from New Hampshire and Vermont in this tournament. And just, I was so impressed with what the school does to put this on in the program offered to the Plymouth Regional High School students. And I surely will return next year to be a judge as well. It was just a great thing to see, and the talent was unbelievable in what they put together. Budget meetings, Zach covered our budget meetings. We did have a budget meeting this afternoon. We met with cemetery recycling, highway, and the library. And as Zach mentioned, we meet again on December 18th and we'll be meeting with Recreation, Parks, and the Town Clerk's office. Plymouth State University update. I met with the Master Planning Committee on Monday, December 4th. The committee will be looking to attend an upcoming Select Board meeting in January to provide an overview of this project and providing an open house for the community in order to receive feedback and comment. Cluster Project Economic Development, no update from November 17th, based on the last time I reported back to you. And with regards to the downtown drainage project, we are finished for this season. We are still waiting for an analysis on the soils in front of the cleaners, the dry cleaners in that section, to see how we will be able to proceed with boxing out the road and replacing the gravel, the pavement, the sidewalks in that area. I was in hopes to have this information by December 1st, but the individual from DES that is coordinating the efforts on this is on vacation for the next week. So I don't have an updated report with regards to that. And that concludes my report.
Thanks, Scott. Any questions for Scott? All right, next up, we have an appointment. Our town clerk, current town clerk's last day
We're believing the end of December.
will be roughly the end of December. So we're going to name an interim town clerk. And is this going to serve effective immediately through?
Once Aaron, who is the current interim, leaves, then this new appointment will come into play.
Okay.
So it won't be.
So
until-
this interim will be effective at Aaron's departure.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah. But we want to make sure we have it on file and ready to go in case Aaron says tomorrow, I'm out of here.
And this appointment, I
Yes.
think it's important to note that this appointment is in the recommendation of Aaron. Lauren, our current town clerk, speaks volumes about Amy and how fast she has caught on to being town clerk, realizing she's only been in the office since June, and has attended all the classes needed in order to receive her certification. And also feedback from citizens that have come in and worked with Amy on a multitude of issues, whether it's registrations, whether it's vital statistics, and just very complimentary of the work that Amy is currently doing in the town clerk's office. So that's why we bring this to you today, as well as she is very interested in running for this position in the next election in March.
In addition to the appointment, there is a letter attached to the Department of Motor Vehicles that needs to be signed by the board so that they know that Aaron is leaving and Amy is taking over, if that's the decision of the board.
Okay.
All right, make a motion to sign the appointment letter for Amy Lee as interim town clerk, and additionally sign the letter to notify the state of New Hampshire that Aaron is no longer going to be in the position.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And then we also have a reappointment of Jason Duchette to,
Let's try and time check.
are we at? Oh, we got 3 minutes. We'll get through this one. That clock's running fast for some reason. Dear Select Board members, I'm writing to apply for reappointment to the Plymouth Parks and Recreation Board. I've served on this commission since 2015, serving on the Facilities Committee, focusing primarily on long-term planning for the development of Fox Pond Park and Riverfront Park. We've completed some great work at Fox Pond Park thanks to the bond. The bond has afforded this town some great improvement. I enjoy coaching basketball for the department. We were able to hold this program in COVID times effectively and safely. We'll continue to look for ways to offer safe, valuable programming to our community in these challenging times. Thank you for your consideration, and I look forward to my continued service to the town of Plymouth. Sincerely, Jason Duchette.
I'll make a motion to reappoint Jason Duchette to the Parks and Recreation Commission.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? See, that only took a minute, Bill. I don't think we can get to another one, though. I don't think anybody's knocking down our door, though, so I think we start the...
What'd you say? Excuse me.
I'm going to open the public hearing. You good with
Good.
that?
I'm good.
All right. But open a public hearing for the acceptance of unanticipated funds in the amount of $40,046.28 from the State of New Hampshire Department of Transportation in accordance with House Bill 2 for maintenance, construction, and reconstruction of Class 4 and 5 highways. The special one-time payment will be allocated to the downtown drainage project. Do we have a... we do. We have this. Not that it's any additional information.
Nope, so, House Bill 2,
Yep.
through the state, allowed for some significant funding to go out to towns, whether it be for roads, bridges, et cetera. You will have another one coming for the bridges as well. So we appreciate their support in allocating that money. This particular money, we try to set aside as much as we can for the downtown drainage, not knowing what the price is going to be. If it's not used there, then it will be reallocated and used to the regular roads, the other roads. So-
Yep. Makes sense. Any commentary from the board?
It's always nice to get some money.
Absolutely. Any commentary from the public?
Can I ask, is it 440,000 or 40,000?
It's 40,000.
40,000.
Yep, $40,046.28. That 28 cents is really important.
That's right.
Any other questions?
Actually, I have a question. So,
Yeah.
regarding the, the cleaners and the materials that we might have, pay quite a bit to dispose of, can this or some monies be used for that as well, or?
Yes. It would be all part of that project, and as we discussed the budget this afternoon, we have put aside $250,000 in the CIP program, but this would add to that depending on what we need to do based on the soil scientist report back and our engineering report.
Do you have a feeling that that's going to cost quite a bit?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I do.
yeah.
250,000, quite a bit.
Could be more than that, Mary Ann.
And do we know how much money we're hoping to get next time?
Oh, for the bridge one?
Yeah.
The next one is about 20,
I think it was close to 30.
close to 30,000. And the thought on that is, I'm currently working with a grant writer, and possibly we could use that on the Loon Lake Road Bridge culvert, because that would give us the 20% that we would need to match the grant that we would receive through rural development.
That's great.
That would be really good. I didn't call out Zoom. Anybody on Zoom have any commentary for the public hearing?
Yes, hi, this is David Bruce and Wendy Avery. We were just wondering about, with everybody else, the tax increase that we got this year, the current one for December.
We can take that during public comments, but this is a hearing specifically around receiving some funds from a grant.
Okay, thank you.
All right, with that, I will close the public hearing at 5:17. Do we have to have a second hearing on this one, or can we accept these funds?
No, I
now?
just need a motion to accept and expend those funds in that manner for the downtown drainage. That's all I need.
So I'll make a motion to accept the funds in the amount of $40,046.28 in accordance to RSA 31:95B for the acceptance of those funds from the State of New Hampshire DOT for maintenance, construction, and reconstruction of Class 4 and 5 highways. Sounds good.
It's kind of wordy, but I'll second that.
Right.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Sorry about the wordiness, Bill.
It's detail.
Detailed for the minutes.
All right. Next up, we have Tom Morrison.
So you have a
Talk to this.
purchase order in front of you. This is in regards to the gear extractor, washer and dryer for the fire department. You'll remember a few months ago,
Yep.
Chief Morrison was in here and discussed that they had received notification that the town of Plymouth secured the grant for the washer and dryer. So what Chief Morrison and Deputy Chief Pierce did is they went out and got 3 competitive bids for that. The most cost-effective bid is Bergeron Protective Clothing. The total project cost is just about $31,000. You notice that this cost is $27,755. What's not included in this is the electrical work, and the fire department had a 5% match of $1,471, which is in their current budget. So it's my recommendation that the board move forward with this purchase order with regards to the most cost-effective bid with Bergeron Protective Clothing for the grant that was secured through the Department of Homeland Security. And just to make note that we should really applaud Captain Vashon from the fire department, who initiated this grant, wrote the grant to Homeland Security and answered the questions and comments, and ultimately we were awarded the $29,429 for the grant.
What do they do now? I don't recall.
What's that?
What do they do now? They don't.
They have an older
Anton's
version
Cleaners.
which doesn't meet the National Fire Protection Agency requirements for a washer and dryer and extractor.
Do we know what the lifespan of this equipment is?
I don't, Zach. I can find out.
I mostly thinking about, at this price point, something to get into the capital improvement plan, just to make sure we have it inventoried and we have it down the road. We're not forgetting.
I mean,
Here's a big piece of equipment.
my
We'll
guess
eventually
from
have to.
being in the fire service, anywhere from 10 to 12 years
I was-
is probably the life
This
expectancy.
is the number I was going to guess too. So, yeah.
They have here in their capital improvement, they have 2044 it should be good through.
Oh, so
So-
probably more like 20 years.
Yeah.
Even
So-
better.
Oh,
17.
That's great.
Oh, no, yeah. 20 years.
Yeah.
That's a good, long life.
I like it.
So it probably came with the original station in 64 or something like that, so let's put it down for 40 years.
I guess that's possible.
So I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of $27,755 to Bergeron Protective Clothing for the purposes of buying the aforementioned items.
A second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's that one. Next up, new business, sale of 34 Fairgrounds Road.
So we have received a draft deed, just waiting for final payment to go from the town, from the bidder to our attorney. Because of the timing, and we want to make sure that this gets done promptly, we weren't sure about future selectmen's meetings because of this month. So my request to the board is to authorize Scott Wheaton as your town manager to go ahead and sign that deed. And that's the only reason why I'm bringing this up now. So I would like a motion, if you wouldn't mind, for him to do that.
I'll make a motion for Scott Wheaton be authorized to sign the deed for the sale of the 34 Fairgrounds Road property.
Second.
Any discussion? I had notes last time on what our portion of that was.
It's about $67,000, I believe.
$67,000 is the back taxes owed in cost associated with the sale.
Great. So the prior owner gets 113,
That
and
is
we're
correct.
going to get 67,000.
Correct.
Good. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, that brings us to Jeff Hiltz.
Jeff
And-
and Brian, would you like to come up?
Discussion about road acceptance at Frontenac.
So to give the history and the outline of where we are today is Mike McNally from KV Partners, our consulting engineer that the town uses in this process of accepting roadways. Was out there on September 14th and walked the site with Joe Fagnet, our highway superintendent, Jeff Hiltz, and Mike McNally, and talked about several items that were identified that needed to be resolved. Previous noted that SEA Consultants was contracted town engineer during the construction of the project and completed inspections of the project elements based on the course of the 3 phases of construction. Most recently, 2 weeks ago, Mike McNally and Kevin French, who is from French Land Services, reviewed the as-built plans and dated from July of 2023 and found them to be acceptable. Also, Mike McNally has worked with Jeff to provide a maintenance bond, which is outlined on the second page of the document that you have, which is a total of $87,400 to post a maintenance bond for the town in accepting the roadway. Based on Mike's opinion, he finds the project to be complete and ready for consideration for roadway acceptance by the town. So with that said, Jeff has done his due diligence in working with his attorney, Brian Ray, and putting together the warranty deed, also the discharge of mortgage. And on Friday, late Friday, I received a memo from Joe Fagnet, our highway superintendent. And I'll read his memo, which is, I have reviewed the tasks necessary for the Frontenac subdivision and feel confident that Jeff Hiltz has addressed the concerns and met obligations for the Frontenac subdivision roadway acceptance by the town. I would like to thank KV Partners engineer Mike McNally for the good job laying out the specifications and footwork and documentation of this project. Currently, our department, the highway department, is operating with without 2 employees, a highway maintainer and a sidewalk tractor operator. This leaves our plow run times that normally function 2+ hours to 3+ hours. We must remove an employee from plowing a route, and that's done after the route is completed, to operate the sidewalk tractor. Fortunately enough, we are working with the Parks Department, and we have an employee at the Parks Department that is very familiar with the sidewalk plow and had done that in the past and actually plowed the sidewalks this last storm. Also, we're doing our best to say hi to the road operations to have the school maintained its scheduled hours. The timing brings closure to the obligation required for the town acceptance. However, I would like to have a solid plan in place and for reasons listed, wait until spring to accept the roadway maintenance of the Frontenac subdivision. In my opinion, I don't think that's fair to Mr. Hiltz and the residents of the Frontenac subdivision based on everything that Jeff and Brian and the consultants that Jeff has had to use in getting this to where we need to be today. This has been a long process. It's been a drawn-out process. Mr. Hiltz has complied with the checklist that was put together by Mike Vignali, and the road is up to current town specifications based on state DOT requirements. So it is my recommendation that that I would recommend that the board do the formal road acceptance of the Frontenac Division to include Chatterin Lane, Ski Lift Lane, and thank you, Jeff, Point of View Drive at this time, because they have done everything. They have spent a considerable amount of money in pushing this project forward, and there's a considerable amount of tax dollars that come from these three roads located in the Frontenac subdivision. So just my opinion and my take on what we have in front of us tonight.
Given that take, what's our strategy or plan for snow removal in that area this winter?
I don't think there's a lot of time that we have plow trucks that run on Parker Street. We have plow trucks that run on Thurlow Street. It's a matter of going there and in between. I don't think it adds that much time to the plow routes that we currently have.
Okay, so we're not talking about a major delay to,
I mean, Jeff probably could give a better idea of what it takes to plow that.
Well, to your point, Scott, you're correct. I mean, when you go up Thurlow and around Parker, it's not a big deal to connect Chatterin to those two streets. And then it's just a couple of quick loops around the other two roads.
And I mean, do you know how much time, Jeff, it takes to plow?
I plowed it myself for years and did it with a small pickup truck. Obviously, the town's got bigger equipment, so they can do it in a lot less time, but it would take 25 minutes to a half hour. In a big storm, a little bit more, but
Okay.
that was, again, with a pickup truck with no wing, just a standard plow.
And they have completed all the documentation. Brian, I don't know if you want to comment on that with regards to the
That's
documentation.
why I asked Brian here, just in the event.
In the work that you've done with
No, I'm just
Attorney
happy to
John
be
Radigan.
here. I mean, it's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. I'm kind of glad I was still in practice when this moment came. I represented Jeff when he bought this property 20 years ago. Probably in the course of what we've done since petitioning the selectmen in September of '22, I've probably been through that title beginning to end 3 times. And, you know, working with John Radigan's office, they were pleased with what we were able to present to them, and they're satisfied with the title. So this, I would very much like to see kind of this come full circle and be this the, you know, a nice ending to this project after 20 years of development.
And my understanding is the deed would obviously have to be recorded at the Grafton County
As
Registry.
soon as you
of
guys
Deeds.
give me the thumbs up, it's on its way.
And I'm not sure how much time that takes and when that transition would take place from Jeff maintaining the current roads to the town taking over the maintenance of.
I think that's up to you guys. If it gets the thumbs up, I would probably have it in an overnight envelope to the registry tomorrow, and it would be recorded Wednesday.
Effective immediately.
pretty immediate. Any questions for Jeff from the board?
Just one quick thing before you, part of the final requirements to fill everything, Scott, required 2 paper copies and a Mylar, which I have here for the as-built plans,
Perfect,
and I have the bond.
perfect.
Do I give that to you, or?
Yep, I'll take that.
Nice catch.
Yeah,
Yeah, that chair does that a lot.
anticipate that.
Sorry.
That's the Mylar and the paper copies. That's the original, and I also have a copy if you want a copy. Sure.
And there's no issue with the select board accepting the roads versus taking it to the town for a vote, right? We're good on that?
That's right. That's why we have that road acceptance policy.
Yep, just confirming, make sure all our i's are dotted and t's are crossed, then I'll entertain a
That
motion
is the original, that's the.
I,
Oh, is there 2 there?
oh, wait.
as soon as they're done.
Or which one?
Well, no, I was gonna give you both if you wanted them.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll take.
I did have it.
All right, I'll make a motion that the town of Plymouth accepts the roads in the Frontenac development, Chatterin Lane, Ski Lift, and what was the other one?
Ski lift lane and point of view.
And Point of View.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? 3 new roads in town.
Nice job.
Thank you very much.
You got there.
Thank you for your diligence in
Anytime.
working with the town and getting through that.
sensing a general feeling of happiness amongst the residents of that
Yeah, that's
development.
good. Yep.
So I may be seeing Mike Conklin and Deb Reynolds this evening, and I'll make sure that they know about this. I know they've been fighting for this for some time, so.
Yeah. All right, we've got a resolution of the Select Board related to the National Flood Insurance Program.
Yeah, so this is a requirement. The FEMA has gone around and updated all the flood insurance rate maps. And what this does with regards to this resolution is basically saying that we will continue and maintain to uphold its participation in the National Flood Insurance Program. Also maintain, update flood development ordinance currently housed in Article 7 of the Plymouth zoning ordinance, which was voted on and approved at the March 2023 town meeting. Also, that we will work with the amendments to the flood maps and local floodplain ordinances. Also, that we will incorporate all of the updates to those flood maps in our zoning regulations. These would be in effect on February 8th, 2024, but it's required that we move this in front of the governing body prior to that to get the resolution and acceptance of the flood maps into our plans.
Any questions for Scott on this?
Okay, I'll make a resolution that we adopt the,
I'm sorry, can I stop you just for a second? We
Sure.
actually need you to read the resolution into the minutes because they're going to ask for the minutes.
Second page?
okay. That is fine.
Line 1.
You can be wordy now, Ted.
That's right. Now you can be worried. That's right.
Does that include all those numbers? Because
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Oh, wow.
so I'll make a motion that we adopt the following resolution. Whereas the town of Plymouth desires to maintain and uphold its participation in the National Flood Insurance Program, and whereas the National Flood Insurance Program guidelines stipulate that the town of Plymouth must maintain an updated floodplain development ordinance currently housed in Article 7 of the Plymouth zoning ordinance, and whereas the town meeting in 2023 voted to adopt the necessary textual changes to the floodplain development ordinance as recommended by the New Hampshire Office of Planning and Development, and whereas RSA 674:57 states that amendments to the flood insurance rate map shall apply to local floodplain ordinances upon their adoption by resolution of the local governing body of a municipality and shall require no further action by the local legislative body. Be it resolved that pursuant to RSA 674:57, by resolution of the Select Board, all lands designated as special flood hazard areas by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, and its flood insurance study for the County of Grafton, New Hampshire, dated February 8th, 2024, together with the associated flood insurance rate maps panels 33009C0817F, 33009C0818F, 33009C0819F, 33009C0836F, 33009C0837F, 33009C0838F, 33009C0839F, 33009C0841F, 33009C0843F, 33009C098F, 84F, 33009C0985F, 33009C1005F, 33009C1006F, 33009C1008F, and 33009C1011F, dated February 8th, 2024, are declared to be part of the Town of Plymouth zoning ordinance and hereby incorporated by reference. Adopted by the Select Board of Town of Plymouth, New Hampshire, this blank day of 20 blank.
Second.
Ted, you're a trooper. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
You sure those weren't O's?
Maybe you should read them both ways.
Yeah, Dan just
I am
texted
sure.
me. Dan just texted he didn't have your mic on.
Doesn't matter.
All right. We also have a renewal to the. My package.
There's no signing of this one yet, Zach.
Oh, okay. So we're discussing to review and approve the amendment to renewal of the cable television franchise agreement between the town and Charter Communications.
So last November, attorneys from DTC came in and talked about the updated agreement, whether we wanted a new agreement or whether we wanted to try to amend the agreement. At that time, we talked about wanting to amend the agreement, but also keeping our 5% franchise fee. That 5% franchise fee is anywhere between $63,000 and $65,000 a year that we receive back on a quarterly basis from that, with regards to making that amendment. So our attorneys worked with Charter Communications, and they have agreed to keep the 5% franchise fee in place. The unfortunate part, and something that we don't have a lot of control over, is back in 2019, the FCC rules changed, and you can no longer have a franchise fee and free drops to the town in the school. So based on that, we wanted to keep the 5% franchise fee, but we lose the courtesy drops. And Charter has agreed to this agreement. And what I need tonight from the board is, in theory, that you would like to move forward with this amendment. What will happen after that is we will go back to the town attorneys, and Charter Communications will ultimately approve this. We would then hold a public hearing with regards to this amendment on this contract, and then the board would sign off on it after that public hearing.
So is it a choice between either the franchise fee or the free drops?
Yep.
And cost?
And have both.
It makes more sense to go with the.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't
We've done
assume
that
we would
math, right?
subscribe to
Right, we
$64,000
lose
worth of
drops.
cable.
Yeah.
Would be a lot of cable.
Weekend
high-
job.
We lose the drops at the highway department, the town hall, the police department, the library, and the schools. But we will get a reduced rate on those cable fees.
What do we use the cable drop for in the highway department?
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Yeah.
Weather,
I was gonna say,
Weather.
it's in the breakdown. and
Yeah,
they
weather.
use it For weather, so.
they
will
have the
probably
internet
use it?
now.
I was gonna say, they probably could
In years
stream
past, they
weather.gov
used- right.
or
In
something.
years past, they used to use it to watch the weather, and now they have the internet, so they probably don't even need to watch
Technology
the weather.
perspective, they get the notices from Homeland Security, Emergency Management, and all of the briefings, so there's really not.
Yeah, so we probably wouldn't pay for a drop there. So it's just town hall.
Right, and the only place we have a drop is actually in the Emergency Management Office, but again,
We don't have one in like the PBTV office or anything?
Dan would have to answer that.
We do, but this box hit end of life. So we haven't changed it over.
Okay,
There is a drop here.
okay. So.
So one
there's
in
a
the
drop
FEMA office,
In the emergency management.
I mean, emergency
office,
management office.
Which I use all of the briefings from Gray, Maine.
So you probably don't need it anymore either.
Probably turned that TV on once.
The fire department, I assume, needs it because they have
Residential.
residential. Police department, same idea, dispatches there 24 hours a day. The schools need it. Yeah.
But then the schools.
So
already
we're
pay.
not talking about that many drops
not a
at the
huge
end of the day anyway.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
If the school get a free fiber drop, or at least negotiate for like a, I mean,
You mean internet wise?
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's up to them.
It's up to them, right? They can figure that out and decide whether or not they want to fund it. Have you given the schools a heads up on this?
Yes, we will. I wanted to talk to you tonight, and then I will send an email out tomorrow to all the affected parties that we're moving forward with the amendment, what the amendment includes, but they will be losing their free drops for cable.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Probably just a consensus of the board for this to move forward to the next round.
Yep.
Good to go?
I agree, it should move forward.
Consensus?
Yep.
Consensus.
You've got it. What is this? Oh, I haven't passed this back. Thank you for keeping me honest. That's it for new and old business. Signature file review.
So I think the file is in front of you, Zach. What you have there, I believe the first one is an abatement for the property at 34 Fairgrounds Road that we currently own, that we're getting ready to sell. But it should not have been billed for the second bill, so that's that abatement there, no interest due on that. And I believe the only other two items that are in the folder are requesting funds from the capital reserves for the year 23-24 as they were voted on at town meeting. Take the money out of their cash account and put it into the town's cash account.
Yep.
That was it, right?
I'm going to assume the act of us signing these is the consensus.
Yeah, you don't have to approve them.
Okay. Those will all get funneled your way. That's it for the signature file.
That was easy.
Committee reports. Village Water and Sewer.
Not till tomorrow?
Okay. Planning Board. Neil?
I'm here. I have a report. I just gotta finish signing.
No pressure.
I'll leave that for now. Okay, the planning board met on December 7th, and our meeting was focused on reviewing the 8 amendments to the zoning ordinance that are being proposed. The first amendment regards definitions, and the intent was to be less restrictive and have more diversity. There was only one change made in the copies that we had, and that was in paragraph 2. The word "to" was taken out because it was redundant. The second amendment, we had some criticism from Dave Kent, who's chairman of the zoning board, and he's opposed to the elimination of special exceptions, especially regarding the single-family zone and single-family residential zone. And we made a change from having accessory dwelling units permitted to special exception. And we eliminated the single-family dwelling attached not exceeding 4 units per building. And Then on the third amendment, we were discussing minimum frontage and that section 304 area dimensions of lots. And we made a change there in the with lots with private well and septic was revised from 40,000 square feet to 43,560, which is 1 acre, and lines up with the state DES regulations. And we had a setback change in the single-family residential was to have a 5-foot setback requires a special exception. And multifamily, I think, requires a 10-foot setback. And then in amendment number 4, we were discussing parking requirements off-street, and we struck language in 411.3.2. If I can find it. With the we had a considerable discussion about the location of off-street parking and parking in front of a building or parking on the side. And we removed on 411.3B, we removed the line, "No surface parking spaces shall be located between the front building line of a residential building and the public street except stacked parking in a paved or gravel driveway located between the side of the principal building and the side lot line." That was stricken from the proposed Amendment 4. And then and number 5 was also in Amendment 4. We struck it's 411.4 B, subsection B, benefits for aging homeowners, single parents, recent college graduates who are saddled with significant student loan debt, caregivers, and disabled persons. That paragraph was stricken. And in section,
Do you know what the reason was for removing that paragraph?
I think it was overly broad.
Okay.
In section B2, paragraph, an accessory dwelling unit shall be permitted in all zoning districts that permit single-family dwellings, with exception single-family residential subject, and then it goes on to the whole alphabet. So it was mainly administrative, and that was A, B, C, and D were taken out. And then 6, let's see, that was 4, and then I moved to 5, and in section 416, paragraph 4 was stricken. There are many important societal benefits associated with the creation of accessory dwelling residences, including increasing supply of affordable housing without the need for more infrastructure or further land development. That paragraph was taken out. And let's see, that was Amendment 5. in Amendment 6, Section 304.2, Section 14, 401.1. Section 4, that was okay. Section 414, Section 401.1, multiple buildings on a single lot was taken right out. And Section 304.2 is deleted. And let's see. Section 7, we added Article 9. I'm trying to locate it, because, well, Article 7, I've got a problem there. I gotta locate it. I've got, Amendment 8, and it jumped from 6 to 8. So all I can tell you about our Amendment 7 is that they added Article 9. So I haven't got that page, but
And all, and all of that will be discussed based on the amendments today at the second hearing. They'll hold,
right.
correct?
But we still had to go to Article 8, which is the Fairgrounds Road Residential Overlay District. And we made an addition to that. It's, what we added was an additional, here it is. Amendment 8, the following uses shall be permitted in the Fairgrounds Road Overlay District. And accessory dwelling units, open space residential development, single-family dwelling detached, single-family dwelling attached, not exceeding 4 units per building, and 5, two-family residential. And the AG zone still applies there. So if you're an A, you can either be AG zone or you can be Fairgrounds Road residential overlay district, which
this a
has
new-
got separate rules. So if you're like grandfathered, you have a farm, you have pigs and cows, the AG zone applies. But if you're, in a development with small lots, the AG zone wouldn't apply.
Is this a new overlay?
Well, we didn't change the one that was in the proposal.
Oh, so there already was an overlay
Yeah.
for Fairgrounds
Yeah,
Road?
that's the one, that is it. So it goes a little beyond Cookville and Beach Hill Road, and stops right about the fairgrounds in that area. Maybe a little further than the fairgrounds.
Both of the overlays
I think it stops right about where the fairgrounds is.
were discussed at the public meetings that they
So
had.
we're going to have another meeting on January 4th?
4th, I think it is. It's that Thursday after the 1st.
We're going to have a second public hearing in January. I thought I had it written down here.
I think it is January 4th, Neil.
Yeah, I think it's the
that
4th.
Thursday after the 1st,
I
which
think
is
it's
that
the
Monday.
4th.
Okay.
That's it.
Any questions for Neil about any of that? Campus Community Council still on rest for a bit. PES.
Yes, they met on last Monday, the 4th. Let's see. Using their notes because they're a lot cleaner than mine. Principal reported that their enrollment is holding steady at about 390. They also announced that the state, Secretary of State announced that the primary will be on Tuesday, January 23rd, and as of such, there will be no school at PES during that day per prior practice. That will be in the gymnasium. Let's see, they're also moving the half-day cultural arts night and parent-teachers from March 14th to March 21st. They reported that their winter program sign-up has occurred. They have about 70 kids involved. They held a mathlon on November 15th for the held by the 7th and 8th grade. They had participation from 14 schools, 10 on site, 4 remote. Basically 80 people in total, with 9 from PES. PES won by 2 points. Let's see. That was already reported on before. They had a grade 4 field trip to the planetarium and the State House on the 27th.
I missed that. I had an appointment.
That's really a crying shame.
It is, actually, so I was really looking forward to it.
On December 2nd, they had a Jingle Bell Run. I had down in my notes that they had like 150 people attend that.
Wow.
They didn't give a number here, but that's what I remember seeing. Curriculum assessment. I'm trying to see if there's anything really major there. They did at their social wellness and behavioral health. The principal noted that a number of students with high absences, I recall they had 27 students or 28 students with more than 7 days already this year, so it's pretty significant. So let's see. They also sent out the SAU office sent out a notification regarding a social media concern. As I understand it from the room, this one went a lot better this time since they had some practice from last year. So that's a big plus. They have a new facilities director, Mark Everett. The speakers in the gymnasium have been replaced, and they will expect that work to be completed this weekend coming up. Those are the important things from there. Floor. And then they went into the budget review. Basically, as I have it in my notes, their budget, and this is a very draft budget at this point in time, is going up roughly $1.16 million, which represents, according to their numbers, $1.58 on the tax rate. This is very preliminary. The increases were largely from, and I'll highlight the key areas where the largest increases are. Out-of-state school students, out-of-district students, homeless, charter school, and court-placed, that cost has gone up by $133,000. Speech pathology services, $62,000. school transportation, this is affecting special education and homeless. So, based on what they discussed at the meeting, this fund here affects approximately under 10 students. But
You said under 10?
Under 10.
Yeah.
But it's going up $159,000 from whatever it is right now. Part of that, of course, is special education, which probably can't be helped. But that suggests that there's much more than $159,000 being spent on this. Health insurance, this is where probably the biggest increase is, $174,000. And this is, based on, really on number of employees. Collapsed all that information into one grouping, and that's what it's going up. So that's pretty much the summary of, there was one other thing I don't want to forget. Let's see, where was that? Review budget. There was this discussion of a restraint and seclusion policy, and don't hold me for being an expert at this, but basically they adopted a policy framework that was given to them, I believe, by the state, that basically states what the law states. It really is around what they can do with a child, how they can restrain or not restrain them. And like I said, it basically applies to trained personnel. And most of the people at the school, I believe, have some degree of training, so they fall into this. And they say basically that they take the action of restraining a child as kind of like last resort. They try to accomplish everything they can short of that. But if they have the resource officer on campus, that if that should be necessary, they have somebody who is capable of doing it from a legal standpoint. So they do everything they can up until that point, and then they defer to the person who's got the legal authority to restrain. So that's pretty much everything that I can recall.
Any questions for Ted about school board items? I was not able to attend high school. The two things that I know, there was some further discussion and debate about the athletic field updates and things that they wanted, so some people showed up to express concerns about that. And then they presented the first draft of the budget, which you can see on the website. The budget hearing will be on January 2nd at 6:30 p.m. At the high school. It looks like the high school budget's hard to know at the moment, but overall, I think their expenses are up around 5%, give or take. But what we don't know as a town, it still is what our portion is going to be. But we assume because of the reval, our portion is going to go up. So for the high school, we're probably facing both an increase because of the value of our town plus the increase of 5%. So I would expect to see our high school tax component go up significantly in the coming year.
So does that mean that we're paying, by virtue of that, we're paying more than the surrounding towns per student?
I can't say with 100% certainty how they break it down, but I thought it was broken down on town value
It is.
and student, or is it just town value?
My understanding is town value.
Yeah, just town value. So yes, our per student cost will be higher. Although the town of Holderness might be, their value of their town is high too. So, I mean, we may not be the most, but we're definitely,
There's other
I think
towns
we
that
were carrying over half the budget previously.
I thought it was,
50 something
I can check.
Anyway, that'll be the most interesting piece of information to get between now and the budget hearing, or certainly at the budget hearing, to know exactly what we're facing, because it's a little murky until that information is shared. I would have gone through their minutes, but their two most recent meetings don't have their minutes posted. 'Cause that's how they roll. Okay, Conservation Commission, Ted.
There is no report for this month. They canceled their meeting.
Capital Improvement is effectively on rest. LRPC.
We have a meeting, actually, I think this Wednesday.
Really?
Yeah. The executive committee,
Oh.
and I don't do the commission, so. Let me just check. Yep, Wednesday. Executive committee meeting.
Anything interesting on the agenda?
Not really.
All right. Well, enjoy your meeting. Parks and Rec Commission.
Lisa's provided me something to read, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Exciting news for the Fox Pond Park. The Drinking Water Coalition has chosen Fox Pond Park as their main site location for their annual New Hampshire Water Festival and Science Fair. This is a statewide educational event that will take place on May 8th during the school day and approximately 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. The Water Festival and Science Fair is open to 4th graders, and the poetry contest is open to 3rd through 5th graders. All at the Drinking Water Festival, students will learn about water quality conservation, erosion, the effects of pollution on wildlife, and many other water-related topics. Through hands-on activities, interactions with professionals in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and math. The Water Fair students will conduct research, create an exhibit, and write a report to present their findings to a panel of judges. There are a variety of ways that the school-level fair can be configured in participation for the statewide fair. For more information, go to nhwaterfestival.org.
And just as kudos to Plymouth Village Water and Sewer, they invited the town and the school in the recreation department to participate in this. And I know Sierra Alderkin from the rec department has been attending the meetings with Plymouth Village Water and Sewer. Jason, Joe Fagnan's been participating, and Steve Ziegler.
That's great. Very cool.
So Zach, just to follow up, I just had a text message from Mark Halloran, who was watching the meeting, and 50% value, 50% number of children.
Oh, so it's half and half on those two.
Yep.
Okay, so students are included in the formula. Thanks, Mark. Parking Committee, Mary Ann.
We actually are wondering if we should combine Parking Committee and Economic Development Committee. It's all part of the PSU cluster. I suppose we'll end up breaking it out, but it's sort of part of that overreaching. So as Scott pointed out, we haven't met since the 17th.
Okay. Energy Commission.
There's email going back and forth whether to have a meeting this month, and the task that we're doing is coming up with questions that we're going to be like allowing a form created to allow townspeople to come in and answer questions that are very effective to find out where we should point our resources with regard to energy projects. So that's going on now. I haven't come up with my 2 questions yet, so, but we may have a meeting this month.
Okay. Advisory Budget Committee met today with the Select Board. We're getting close. Economic Development Committee, we just heard they met. Chamber of Commerce.
Until Thursday.
Thursday. PERLAC.
I missed the meeting. And
Neil.
Neil missed it too.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
Okay. Police and Fire Building Assessment Committee hasn't met in a while.
Nope, and we're waiting for the report to come back from
And that's-
T. Turner Group, which is supposed to be back any time. I can check in with Tommy tomorrow.
It has been a bit,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. All right. On to public comments. Before I do public comments, I wanted to check. We had public comments over the last couple meetings about speed checks on Langdon Street and Highland Street. Have we collected any data, or do we have any updates
Have
on those?
collected data on Highland Street. The information was sent to Chris Mumford and Cam Sinclair. And as a follow-up to that, Alex, Nate Buffington, and I will be meeting with Chris and Cam next week.
All right, great.
With
Anything
regards to-
interesting out of that data that you found?
Well, there is actually. How many cars, trivia night, how many cars do you think travel, an average number of cars that travel on Highland Street over the course of a month?
Over the course of a month? I thought you were going to say a day.
Yeah.
thought you were gonna
I'm
say
going
a
for
day,
a
too.
week.
450,000?
15,000.
I was gonna say 50.
28,000 cars a month.
28,000?
For a
28,000 a
total of
month.
just over 1 million cars over the course of a year. On Langdon Street, that has about 19,000 cars that travel over that on the course of a month. I do have the data downstairs, and I should have brought it up, Zach, but I can report on that next month.
Yeah.
Because we did have an officer over there, as well as parking enforcement, observing traffic and collecting speed data.
Cool. Good.
So I will report on that next month with regards to Langdon Street.
Sounds great. 28,000 and 19,000, that's all. I'm actually surprised Langdon is only half of Highland. I would have thought a tenth. Highland's so busy, but Langdon apparently pretty busy too.
Yeah, and that's just based on an average of cars that were counted during a 3-week period at different hours during the day.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. Public comments for real.
They're short, but I concur with Mary Ann's suggestion about putting the parking committee and economic development as one committee because they are essentially tied together and it'd be effective. That's it. It's a very good meeting.
Thank you, Frank.
Thanks, Frank.
And I'll be meeting with Frank Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock with regards to the street names in the lower half of Main Street, the downtown area.
Okay.
We have a meeting scheduled for Wednesday.
Anybody on Zoom with any public comments on any topic?
Just, if I can, Zach, just
Yeah.
quickly. So over the course of the last week, I've taken several calls with regards to the assessment and the taxes.
Yep.
I've also visited several residents that have had concerns and gone to their house and had conversations with them. And not that everybody is happy about what the taxes are, but I think once I sit with them and explain the whole reevaluation process and some of the thoughts that we have moving forward with regards to, with the town as Plymouth is situated with a very high level of tax exempt nonprofit properties, is that we probably shouldn't, in the best interest of the town, go with a 5-year reevaluation. We probably should look closer at every other year doing a full update to the reevaluation. And I met with the New Hampshire Real Estate Association last week, and they're very favorable that the market is going to start to turn in mid-24. So where we did the reevaluation in '23, it might be in the best interest of the town to do a full update in 2025 to catch that market decline, to be able to control some of what the real estate market is dictating in the town of Plymouth, with the sales soaring anywhere between 65 and 110% over the assessed value. You know, once you have that conversation with them and you ask them to attend the meetings and voice their concerns and comments and explain to them that I live in Plymouth, I feel the same burden as everybody else here in this room tonight. And it's not a good feeling, and what things can we do to help control that? I explained the work that the Advisory Budget Committee and the Board of Selectmen are doing on the budget, and where it's looking at that we're going to end up, that we're trying to be absolutely financially responsible and making sure we're looking at justifications and how we're appropriating and expending the funds of the town. So I've had some really good meetings, and I will say last week I spent, I wouldn't even guess how many hours talking to people and visiting them at their homes, to the point where a gentleman from Crescent Street out at Harry and Dale Blackie's development had come in, and I went out there and I met with him and then met with several residents as a group on that street to talk about the assessment, the reevaluation, the tax rate. And it's one thing that is a common thread of what I hear is people become so anxious when they receive their tax bill, and all they see is it comes from the town of Plymouth. So they equate that $24.38 to the town of Plymouth. Until you sit and have a conversation with them about the town portion of the tax rate, the school portion of the tax rate, the state education portion of the tax rate, and the county portion of the tax rate, that's when they fully understand what we're doing from a town perspective, but also encouraging them to attend the school meetings and have a conversation with them about what their budgets consist of. Not that anything is bad, anything is secretive, but we want to be completely transparent in doing and having those conversations with those folks. I think we've seen some additional folks going to the school meetings, I think, which is important. And I will continue to have those conversations and go out and meet with people. The conversations aren't easy, but I think at the end of the day, when you sit and talk to them, the main concern is they want somebody to listen and be there for them to facilitate and try to get to a better place. And I've assured them that that's what we, all here tonight, are trying to do.
Good.
Scott?
Can you come to my house?
You have ice cream.
You're on. I'll leave you two alone to do.
So it's been good conversations, I will say.
Thanks, Scott. That's good.
So regarding the, is it a minor, as far as like the reval, and we're gonna have like another one in 2 years?
That would be my hope, is that we would do an update every other year to catch the market. Because obviously what happened here is the real estate market thrived and bloomed over the last 3 years. And we hadn't had an evaluation since 2017-18. So we took all of that market bloom and caught it at one time. If we do it every other year, we'll catch gradual increases, decreases. We're doing a full market update.
Full market, okay. So I'm not put off by the cost, but it's gonna be like another 50, 60 grand, something like that, or?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but,
We're meeting, Ann has scheduled a meeting for us to meet with Whitney Consultants to have this conversation on laying this out and what process we would have to go through and what the associated costs would be with that. And we're having that meeting in January, so we'll have a good idea of what that's going to forecast with regards to a full update.
great, thanks.
I've been approached by a number of citizens regarding the increase in their taxes, and I got the impression that elderly people on fixed income or limited income are really kind of in a trap. It's really a hard thing for them. They don't really have the flexible finances to cover their medical bills and their basic services, and it's really tough for them. And I got a question for Scott.
But if I can just regards to that, Neil, and I've had some of those conversations with those folks, and they're in tears, and they have a lot of anxiety with regards to that. And the one good thing that we did a lot of good things in this last year, but one thing we did was implement a delinquent tax policy, which allows us to allow the residents, the taxpayers in Plymouth, to enter into a written payment agreement with the tax collector, and we can offer that through the month of April with no interest.
That's
So I've told them
excellent.
to come in and work with Linda to enter into a written tax agreement, payment agreement, with no interest to the end of April. We can only go to the end of April because then a lien has to be put on the property if the tax isn't paid at that time. So that is an option for them, and that is something I've discussed with them.
That has to be helpful.
And I know some have come in and had a conversation with Linda.
I have another question for you regarding commercial real estate. It seems that they've gone down some.
They did. They took a larger hit in 2017 and 18 than the residential property did. So that balanced out in this reevaluation.
Yeah,
Which is why single-family residential went up as much as it did.
yeah.
I mean, the other thing, and it doesn't matter to a taxpayer in the town of Plymouth to know that a lot of surrounding towns are feeling this same burden with the reevaluation. I can tell you in the town of Ashland, I have friends in the town of Ashland, some of their taxes went up by 40%. And it's town of Guilford, and I belong to the Municipal Managers Association, and they have a listserv, and I can tell you, this has been the topic of conversation for the last 2 weeks, is how are they going to get through these increases in assessments that apply to increases in your tax bill. And I think we have some strategies that we can put in place to overcome this moving into the future. It's not going to help today, other than someone entering into a written tax agreement, payment agreement with the tax collector.
Well, the planning board has been approving some pretty large development proposals. And when they come online, that's going to increase the tax base from a commercial standpoint.
I have to say that, perhaps the case that was recently ruled on, as far as being able to, basically have a statewide education tax and apply it to every town, so that the towns that have, low student costs, low school costs, they used to, or they have been, or they continue to keep their SWEP. So we pretty much give all our SWEP to the state, and we get, a portion back, a large portion. So you have like towns like Rye or something like that. They have, 2 million that basically goes back to them because they've already contributed their expectation of a SWEP. Regardless, the court case was the Rand case, and that's going to pretty much figure how much, like an equalized student payment would be, and what states, cities, and towns' expectations are. And if it goes forward without appeal or, rejiggering the ruling, then, we're going to be faring pretty well.
Plymouth could fare very well.
Yeah. So there might be,
There
hope
may
on
be
the
some
horizon.
relief in the future.
Yeah.
I like how you said maybe.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. Comes to legislation, no guarantees.
that's it. And towns with money can afford to, pay a lot in lawyers, and they don't want to see the millions go away.
I didn't mean to take up the time in public comment, but
No,
I
no,
just
that's-
thought it was
I'm
important that
sure-
you heard.
There was a number of people, I think, who were on Zoom who wanted to ask questions about this
Yeah.
topic and have dropped off. So hearing
And
this
again,
at the end, I
am
think will be
happy
helpful.
If someone has a question, concern, or comment, please call, please stop in. I am more than happy to have a conversation with you about where we are today.
You had that one family or person, whatever, they at least had a name up there that maybe you
Right.
can reach out to or something.
Do you remember what that name was?
Bruce
But it's on,
Davies.
But I,
it's on tape.
it'll be on the recording.
David
Davies.
Bruce
Yeah.
and Wendy Bruce.
I'm sorry, Neil.
David Bruce and Wendy Bruce. They live on the corner of Fairground and Loon Lake Road.
Okay.
Once again, Neil
we
knows
just have
everybody.
him. I'll be knocking on their door by the end of the week.
They'll be coming to your door.
Wendy, I think?
And
David and Wendy, was that it?
Bruce. Yeah.
All right, last call for public comments. All right.
Then I will make a motion that we enter non-public in accordance to RSA 91-A:3, 2, A personnel and E legal.
Second that. Thanks for the nod, Mary Ann.
Well,
Neil, your vote.
Aye.
Bill.
Aye.
Zach. Aye. Mary Ann.
I.
Ted.
Aye.
Right.